Heyo, Internet, what's up? My name is Andrew, otherwise known as Drewicious. Welcome to my basement. It is Sunday night. I have good news and bad news. The bad news is I just killed a box of wine. The good news is it went into my glass, so we're good for now. We're gonna do something a little different tonight. I thought I would do some screening with you guys. I know I did a video on one of my screeners. I'm going to kind of go through a big chunk of my process tonight. I'm going to kind of show you what I'm looking at, things I'm looking for in the order flow, and just kind of walk you through stuff as I add it to my list. My list will be available probably tomorrow morning. I might post it tonight in the Discord. So if you guys are interested, by all means, show up. I've got links in the frequently asked questions on drewsbasement.com if you're curious on where that is. But otherwise, I think we're probably ready to go ahead and jump in and take a look through some of my common screeners, take a look at some tickers, add some stuff in, talk about why they maybe are or not interesting, and you guys can tell me where I'm dead wrong. And I'll listen. That's my promise to you. All right, let's take a look at, we're going to start off with Inside Scan, the Inside Bar Scan. I became very aware, by the way, recently of all the uhs that I do in my videos. I'm going to try not to do them so much today. I'm confident I won't do a great job. We'll find out. So this is the Inside Scanner. I did a video on this, I think, earlier last week, recently. I did a video on just the Inside Bar Scan. I went through the settings, so I'm not going to go through that again. We had, dang it, I did it. We have quite a few options showing up in this one. This isn't huge. I've seen much larger lists of inside candles, but essentially these are all inside candles that got printed on Friday. And we're interested in looking through these, picking through the wreckage to find out if there are some opportunities that are worth trading. So we're going to just kind of walk straight on down. Now, if you take a look over here, I'm operating right now out of my watch list, which is pinned directly to my scanner for the inside bar, right? So as soon as I come in here and I click on this, it's going to show me all the things. And you can see that I've got ATR and beta are two of the things I'm very interested in. I want to know about the percent change for the day there. We do have, last price, and of course the ticker. So we're just going to kind of start going on down through here. I've got one of my more simple charts up. It is just simply a daily chart. I've got the volume, RSI, MACD, and the TTM squeeze indicator on there, as well as a 20-day moving average on here, simple moving average. That is all we're looking at in this chart. I have other ones I can bring up. I like to use different tools and different occasions. I'm going to probably keep tonight fairly simple, but I do like to bring in the volume profile is another thing I very much like to look at on this, but that brings in a bunch of sub-studies, and I don't want to clutter up the screen tonight for this effort. So we're going to stick here with the basics. So looking through here at FXI, this is, so there's our inside bar. For those of you who aren't familiar, I do have an inside bar and outside bar indicator on here that is also available on drewsbasement.com. There's the inside outside bar indicator. It's just a study that you can load in here, and it just highlights the inside and outside bars. It makes them a little easier to find. Of course, since I'm doing the inside bar scanner here, it's not totally necessary to call it out, but just letting you know, I'm looking right here at this gray bar. We're right at the 20 MA. What I am looking at here, so we're kind of coming down. We're coming off of a little bit of a bullish run here, and we're not sure what's going to happen. We're coming down to meet this particular moving average at the moment. That doesn't necessarily mean anything, but what does catch my attention here is that we're sitting right below a little bit of a level. Right above a little bit of a level, and there's a double gap here, right? There's just this tiny little, I don't know, kind of an abandoned baby doji sitting there in between, right, with a gap above and a gap below. So I don't know that I necessarily I do expect this to come down eventually, but I don't know if that's going to happen tomorrow. And traditionally for an inside bar, what I'd be looking for is a break of this parent. And right now that would put us at 2770. Then we got another guy here that put us down to 29 or 2739. And then the low of this candle right here puts us at 2734. So we have a little bit of distance to go here. And the ATR on this is quite small. 70 cents per day is the average move on this thing right now. So we have quite a bit to give up to get down there. The close at 27.77 all the way down to 27.34. So we got to give up about 40 cents. Leaves us about 30 cents on our ATR budget for the rest of the day here for tomorrow. But if we get a big flush here, if we do get that 40-cent move and we break through this level, we've got potentially a really nice flush out here. That gap could fill. We could see some longs get stopped out there, and we could see a nice move. So even though I don't necessarily expect this to happen tomorrow, I'm going to go ahead and put an alert on this one for a potential swing, because it is a slower moving ticker with the smaller beta and a relatively small ATR, even though that ATR is not negligible in terms of the overall price at $27, right? So less than $1 is still 1.5%, 2% average move per day. So not bad. We're still, though, just going to focus on getting down to... I want to see what happens when we get to the bottom of this gravestone right here. And that has 27.34. So we're just going to go ahead and call it 27.30. Make it even, give us a little bit of room there. Swing, dropping below support. Potential gaps below to, and that looks like we could potentially drop on a swing all the way down to like 26, 25.50 maybe. All right, so we're gonna drop that one in for an alert and keep on going. What else do we have in here? There's pins. Let's see here, ATR of 1.24, so I mean like 2% move. Let's see what kind of flow this is getting. It's very heavily based right now on the call side, largely on the ask side. So there does seem to be a bias here for people looking for a bullish move. There's a little bit of call sizzle index is getting close to 1. So this doesn't look amazing to me. This really looks like a big consolidation range. We're kind of in the middle of it. I'm not super into it. I mean, there's a little bit of a channel, but we're still sort of in the middle of it. So I'm not super interested in this one. I'm just going to keep on moving. SLB is in the oil industry. We've had, I played this one a couple times coming out of this break here. We had a great move up, coming down into a little bit of consolidation. This looks, I mean, if I'm being straight, it looks a little bit like a flag here. And let's see here, sorry, some notices coming up. This looks a little bit like a bull flag, and it looks like a little bit like we're close to breaking out of it. We've got a strong candle here. This is our inside candle inside of a nice range candle. We're kind of getting close to the top here, and we close at the top, strong close at the top. I'm going to say that I'd be interested in knowing if we go above this level here. That would indicate to me that we maybe have a move up coming. Oil in general looks like it could catch another gust upwards here. So let's see here. This is a high of 53.59, high of 53.50. So I think 53.65 feels reasonable. Yeah, we're going to stick with that one. We're going to say inside bar, potential bear flag or potential bull flag. And this one's got an ATR of 2, so we could see a move up to, I mean, that could get us up to 55. Looking at the chart here, it's kind of coming back to see, yeah, 55, 56 definitely seem possible. So let's just say 55 possible. And over 56 could go. All right. Popping that one in there and moving on. EQT, these guys show up on the regular. This one is a little bit interesting. We're right down here at the bottom of a lower trend. Coming off of it, we've got a double, potentially tweezer bottom here. You can see that we've got twin wicks, so that could be a little bit of a double bottom. The flow on this one doesn't always excite me. This is a little thin for my taste. So a lot of times I see this chart and I get interested in it, and then the chains don't really do much for me. So we're going to pass over that one. SQQQ, that's short of the Qs, and that is looking pretty bullish. That's actually got a little bit of a trend here. This looks also a little bit like a bull flag, and it looks like we're getting close, but there are some wicks up here indicating some rejection. So we're not going to put anything on that one. TSM manufacturing for semis. Getting a little tight here on the range. $2 ATR. We're a little bit above average on beta. Doji, volume's not really doing much here, and we just kind of closed this gap. So yeah, it could do something. I mean, the doji does indicate some indecision, but it's not really on high volume. So I'm gonna let that one marinate a little bit. Here's everybody's favorite SPY. So we got an inside day. We had kind of a bow staff here before. Really major day with news. And let's see, what do we have kind of going on around us right now? So we're coming off. It looks like we have a consistent set of wicks here at this bottom set. We've got a ways to go up here to get a break to get out of this. I don't know that I would. I mean, 7 is an average range on here. The high, well, let's go with the close of this. 382 would need to break. So we'd lose 4 getting up there, 5 getting up there. That'd leave us about a $2 move up here on an average day. I mean, it probably will move and it probably will get played. I don't know that this particular setup gets me super excited. This does look a little bit like potentially a diamond bottom. So what could happen if we do get a move up, and the futures are looking strong at the moment. So if we do get a nice move up here, a gap up, let me see where we at right now, 385. So yeah, we're actually already like 385 would put us kind of right up in here somewhere. So if this did end up being a diamond bottom, right, this would be a little bit this shape here. That would telegraph that we could potentially hope to get back up here to some of these previous highs. So, all right, I talked myself into it. We're gonna go ahead and throw one up here, but we're gonna look for the break of that structure, not necessarily the break of that parent candle. So just breaking this, right? We still have a lot of supply here, which you can see here from these wicks, even though they're a little bit lower. That's a high volume there. So some of that rejection came with some volume. This is a lower volume candle. And so that wick doesn't mean a ton to me. This is a higher volume candle, but most of that was coming up from the bottom. So I would like to see us clear this. That would get us above both of those ranges and potentially get us up, up towards the 394, 395 as a potential target again. Probably not in one day unless we get a big move, which is possible, but I'm not aware of any big catalyst coming unless something geopolitical happens or if there's a big news drop about something unbelievable, a Santa sighting or something. I'm not sure. But let's see what we do here. At the top of this one, that'd be 387.41 is the top. So we're going to say 387. We'll just say 50. Round it out. So if we do get above that, we'll go ahead and take note and I think, what did I say? $7 move from 380, the close of 382, almost 383. So 383, we're going to cut, 350. So on an average day, that would put us close to 390. So we'll see if that goes. Possible diamond bottom. Got to spell diamond right. Could move towards 390. And if we do get a big move here, right, it could definitely go. So I'm just going to say 390 plus. I don't want to tell anybody that they should hope for 410 tomorrow. That would not be good hopes. But it could swing, right? If we catch a gust here, definitely a possibility. So, all right, we'll throw that one out there just in case. Let's take a look through some more here. There's a Citibank. And I don't mind this one. It's not bad volume. There was a nice surge of buying here on this previous candle. It's kind of a hammer, long buy wick there. So there's a lot of supply sitting, or I'm sorry, a lot of demand sitting here with people interested in pushing this up. So that came in with above average volume. And this isn't a bad setup. All things considered, we got a little bit of a curl here on MACD. We got room to go on RSI. We had a decent volume day the day before holiday. Not shocking that there's not a ton of volume there, but honestly, I could see this move up. I don't know that I would necessarily put this at the top of my list from a setup position. I mean, I don't hate it though, but we're gonna move on. I do feel like this could catch a gust tomorrow, but I'm not gonna throw it on the list right now. Let's see what else we have. Bank of America, another financial sector, kind of has a similar look to it, although the volume is really just tapering off here, so I'm going to keep on moving. UAL, kind of an area of consolidation, kind of coming off of an oversold area here in RSI, and well below this particular average. So we are filling this gap. So we pretty much did. It looks like we did fill this gap out here. So could take a move back up. I don't know that I want to gamble on it. I haven't been paying attention to the sector a ton recently, so we're going to keep on going. Here's the Qs, and sorry, I know that my charts, I mean, they're nothing compared to stashes, but I got a bunch of stuff on here. It's a little confusing, but we're down here in an area of supply. There's a little bit of a trend. A little bit an area of demand. We got some wicks down here at the bottom. We have quite a ways to go to make this inside bar, farther to go than we did on SPY, and farther to go even here. So tech has been a little bit harder hit than the S&P. Hold on, my dog is yipping. Hey, dog. All right. So I mean, could this one go? I would be more inclined to play the break of the child here, just simply because of the range, but I'm kind of reaching for a play there. So I'm just going to keep moving on, looking for setups that have a better risk to reward layup. See here, Microsoft and the tech sector, kind of a similar look, right? We got this inside candle with a bunch of buy pressure on the previous day, and the 2 days before that, the Thursday candle, we have quite a bit of distance to make up there, which is going to consume a lot of that ATR. So on an average move, I don't know. I'm not super excited about that one. IWM, a little bit of a head and shoulder forming here. There's our two shoulders. There's our head. We haven't quite. I mean, we got to come down here to complete that, but it's not a great space. This one also has a little bit of that diamond bottom look, and we are super close to being able to come back up. I like this one better for just a straight move because from a range perspective, the high of this one at 174, almost 175, and then it's like a almost $3 move up to the top of that one. So I think I like this one. We're going to go ahead and put this one on just because it is so close to being able to break out. Inside bar. Can make a move towards, I think, what did I say? Going to take a look. So the top of this one is 174. We're going to say 50. And that could give us a move up to 176.50. And maybe 178. That's kind of pushing our luck a little bit, but it's possible. Let's keep going. Nvidia, a little bit of a buy pressure here, above average on Thursday. Sorry, that's the Thursday candle. Friday below average volume, small candle, not a big deal, but we are kind of below support here. And we're kind of right. We're actually really kind of close to a level here, and I do already have an alert set here to let me know if it goes below 147.50. So that must have been a pre-standing level that I was interested in. So we're going to leave that there. It definitely could, make a comeback here. I mean, there's nothing here that indicates that we can't go either direction. But yeah, I'm mostly interested to the downside here, even if we don't get it for a little bit. Keep going. Square. Sort of sitting at a level here. There's a lot of touches at this level. You got a little bit of buy rejection, below average volume, kind of getting muddy here on the MACD. I'm going to take a pass. I mean, it's good consolidation. Frankly, I'm surprised that that the TTM squeeze is indicating that we're not currently consolidating. So this is pretty choppy in here, kind of a little bit rangy. I don't mind this for a potential move up. And if we go down, and also, I mean, it could go either way. If we break through this level here, and we've got, I mean, this is a bit of a zone, so there's a bit of a range here, what might be kind of a supply range. I'm sorry, demand range. It may take us a while to get through this, so it looks to me like there's plenty of buyers down here that are interested in this, but there's also a lot of profit taking going on up in here. So I'm gonna pass on this one because I don't have a real super high conviction on it. Intel kind of coming down. They don't know what they're going to do here. They look like maybe they want to do like a double bottom, and then I might be interested to the upside. So I'm gonna let that one brew a little bit more. Cisco, they've been moving pretty slow. They got a low beta, about a 2% move per day. I don't love the setup. We're gonna keep going. Uber. This is sort of an interesting chart. So we've closed this gap. I mean, we effectively closed this gap a while ago. We bumped up, kind of doing a distribution arc here. Kind of come down, similar to a lot of these other charts we've looked at. Buy pressure recovery on Thursday, small day on Friday. Inside candle, below average volume. There's really nothing here that gets me super excited. I mean, there may be a plane here somewhere, but it's not crystalline that it's an easy play. So we're going to keep going. Oracle kind of coming up, looking like they might be a little on the toppy side here. We did get some overbought signals up here on RSI. We're cooled off a bit there, and we're just consolidating in this range right now. So, but we are starting to slip below this moving average. If you change this to a 50-day moving average, it probably looks fine. But on the 20-day moving average, it is flipped to the wrong side, and it looks like it could be maybe starting to curl the wrong direction for Oracle. So, the beta is not bad and the range isn't bad. This could be a good swinger, frankly, because if we zoom out and look at this thing at the weekly, it's a little bit of a double top here. So, I mean, this could be a nice swing to the downside if they start to pull back a little bit. So I might set something down here. I'm not going to do it right now because the range is going to take so long, because really we'd be looking to drop from 79 down to like 78. Well, it's a buck, which it could do in a day. So if this thing came down and broke through these levels, I might be interested in taking it downward. So we'll just go ahead and set a swing alert on this guy. If this breaks support here, can dump swing, and it looks like here, we'll make that a slightly rounder number. And I mean, we could come down here to 74.5. Where would we go after that? Looks like next stop there would be like 60, 69. I'm not gonna joke, I'm mature. All right, so we'll see where that goes. AMD back into the semi sector, coming through an arc, not really sitting at any interesting levels. I mean, there was some support here previously, so we did find a bounce here, a very small bounce before we went into a big sell-off. I think that was ER. Oh no, it's not ER. That was just bad news. There's this amazing consolidation channel here, which we broke out of, came up and hit the upper trend line. So I don't know. I mean, we could bounce off of this support and come back up and retest this trend line a little bit. We're also this minor trend line up here. We're kind of stuck in between it. So I mean, I guess if we bring this down a little bit, it does sort of suggest a little bit of a confluence there of that horizontal support level and this trend line. So we could get trapped in this range for a little bit, in which case there might be some upside in here. I'm not going to alert it. But if you like this ticker, this might not be a bad spot for it to take a bounce back to the upside. All right, Netflix has been all over the road lately. Let's take a quick look at this one a little closer. Similar patterns, wide day. This is actually a double inside day, which I don't mind. We got a high beta on it, and it does like to move. And I gotta be honest, I like this consolidation range that we're in here. I'm gonna so I've already got one alert up here for the top side. I'm gonna go ahead and put one down here to the bottom. I don't mind this one at all. We'll move that down to 75 and make sure that that lines up okay with the bottom of that candle. The low is 286.5 out, so we just got to go ahead and say 5. Double inside. Looking for a big move. That's some decent consolidation on this guy. So yeah, I would not mind seeing this thing go either direction at this point. It's kind of right in the middle of everything. And yeah, I don't know. I kind of like it to the upside. It looks like this was a, well, let's see here. This candle closed to the upside, I think. We opened at 296 and closed at 294. Yeah, so this closed right there. So we don't have far to go to break north. So that would be my preferred. Now we do have this structure right here. That was the top of that. And we also have a trend line up here. So if we do break up, you know, we have some traffic up here to run in through. So we've got a moving average, right? The moving average doesn't necessarily mean anything, but any of the algorithms that care about it are going to realize that that's a potential bounce zone. So we have some things up here that could send us the other direction, right? So we've got the moving average, we've got this level here, and we've got this trend line, but we did close that farthest. So if we bleed off tomorrow and go the other direction, we have plenty of room to fall. So breaking here, we've got this structure here at 281. We've got a little bit, looks like we've got some demand here in this zone, which looks like 280 to 275. Below that, it's going to be a long way down. So that would drop us all the way back here. So I'm inclined to set another swing watch at this level here, because this is going to be a loss of a major level. And if we come through that with any volume, then it could get pretty bloody. I'm not going to set that alert right this moment, but I am interested in it. All right, Meta, let's see what you got. You guys have been kind of just consolidating here for a while. Looks like MACD's getting kind of muddy. RSI's right in the middle. TTM is just complacent. So there's really, like, this looks like it's building up for a move. And I honestly don't hate this thing for a straddle or a strangle right now. If we were to go look at this maybe a couple weeks out, we don't need to look at all of them, but let's just say this. Just kind of looking at like open interest and flow. It looks like there's a lot of people lining up over here on the, a lot of people bullish a couple weeks out. So the open interest right now at least indicates that there are more people hanging out on the call side than on the put side. Just taking a look through their general activity down here. Calls, bid and ask are pretty even. Bid and ask pretty even on the puts. And in fact, and it's pretty evenly split with the mid-market as well. Not a lot of sizzle on this. I mean, the volatility's been up a little bit, but everything else is pretty plain. So, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we got a move out of these guys here before too long, just because this is so much consolidation. I mean, it looks a little bit like we've got a triangle forming here. We could even just drag that in real quick. So I see this here. So, I mean, I'm not disinterested in this pattern and this inside bar, and, you know, with the rest of this consolidation, it could kind of pack up a little bit tighter here, but at some point, this guy does look like it will catch a move. So I'm not going to set an alarm just because I don't need more stuff on the alerts list right now, but I might come back and check this one out later. All right, Airbnb coming down to all-time lows. I mean, is it all-time lows? Like, that's not, yeah, boy, that is rough. So looking pretty dinged up here for Airbnb, and a tiny range, kind of similar, some of the similar patterns we've been seeing here. A couple of rejection wicks here at the bottom, or buy wicks at the bottom of these things, but low volume. So I'm going to go ahead and pass on this one. So that's kind of everything I'm getting out of the inside bar. And that is some of the process that I go through. Let's take a look and see how long. I don't want this video to last forever. It was not part of my goal. Let's see, how far are we? It's been half an hour, so I'm going to continue doing charting, but I did want to share that part with you. So let's just take a look over everything that we looked at here today. I know there's a couple on here. I think Nvidia, Netflix, and Costco were all on there previously from the 22nd. So here's all the ones we just looked at. So that is FXI, SLB, SPY, IWM, Oracle, and Netflix all landed in here from our scanning efforts. That's not bad. I'll probably end up with a couple others. I do have several other screeners. You know, what we'll do real quick, guys, is we will look at a couple other things and then I will let you go. You probably are turned off, let's be honest. But just in case you're still here, let's look through a couple other of my scan queries. So we're going to go, what I also like to do on the weekly, we did this inside bar scan already, right? This is the exact same results we just went through. However, what we didn't do was turn this to the weekly. Let's go see if we have any inside weeks that are worth taking a look at. So burning those out real quick. Let's see who landed inside, and not a huge list. So I'm going to pass on that one. Mondelez lands in here a lot. Maybe not necessarily this one, but I see them come up a bunch. I've never played it. Let's just go look at the chart. MDLZ. And let's look at that on the weekly, because that's where it's inside. So we had an inside week. Oh, that's interesting. So it was riding this channel. It did finally break out. And it looks like we came back down and tested a little bit of a pullback on the weekly. And we closed above. How's our chains looking? This one's been kind of thin. Yeah, the chains are really thin. I'm just not interested in something that has that little volume. So we're going to keep going, but I was looking at this one earlier, and you can see why. It is really clear trend line here that we broke out of, and it looks like, I mean, this could be a double top, but this also could retest here and take off. But with those chains as thin as they are, I don't care. Who else we got in here? Pins. They were just on the inside for the daily too, weren't they? So let's go take a look at them on the weekly. Oh man, look at all that. It's just lots of tiny little bars here getting smaller and smaller, and we're just kind of coming into like an apex. We've been in consolidation on the TTM for a really long time on the weekly, and we're just kind of stuck here. I don't know that I'm real interested in finding out where this goes. I mean, we are getting in a tighter and tighter, like these candles are getting smaller and smaller, right? We don't see these big candles anymore. So there could be a move coming here. I wouldn't expect it to be bullish just based on kind of where we're at with things in tech right now. But either way, we're not going to add that to our list. NEM, they show up in here a fair amount. Let's take a look at what they're doing. And kind of coming up, a little bit of consolidation. This is kind of interesting. So we have an inside, outside, inside setup on the weekly for Newmont. That is a lot of consolidation. TTM is in consolidation. We're kind of on the curl up. We're kind of on the way up. So, and this we closed on the upside, I think, right? We closed above our open. Correct. So this could be interesting. These guys, the chain here, it's not bad, not great. There's an increase, there's a bias of activity to the ask side for calls, so that's bullish. There's also a bias to the ask side for puts, that is bearish, so those kind of cancel each other out. From a sizzle index, and that just really is a, hey, how active are we compared to average? We have more activity on the call side. So there is a little bit more activity over here, and that is the call side activity itself is a little on the bullish side. Overall sizzle, not high. There's not a ton going on here. This could be an okay swing. I do like this much consolidation here, but you can see that this thing prints inside bars on the regular. And if we look to see if it honors them, like here's an inside, breaks to the downside. That was a great one. Here's an outside, inside, and then it broke to the downside. We got a play out of that. Broke further to the downside. Inside, broke down. Inside, sort of, it said went up, but it went just sideways. So, I mean, this thing's just kind of a little too flat, and I would think be more interested in something a little bit more volatile. Let's take a look at what else we have here. MRK, that was on a rip for a while. And whew, it's still looking pretty potent there. That is also up there, and it looks like it could very well. We got an outside-inside setup on the weekly, and it very much looks like it could keep going based on this. Now we're oversold on the weekly, and we can see that, you know, that's only happened kind of once here before, and it did reject and kind of got into this down channel, but obviously it recovered just fine. But this is really, that is a lot of oversold lines there. Now kind of coming down just to look at it on the daily, I see some divergence here. So our price is going upwards, but I see RSI is starting to go downward. So this is we have a bit of a downward here, right? This peak is higher than this peak, even though our price, this peak is higher than this peak, even though this price is lower than this price, right? So the price is going up, RSI is kind of going down. So there's some divergence there. Seeing a little bit, MACD sort of agreed, right? It was fine to go up here, but it's on the way down here. So there is some divergence in here, is a little bit concerning. And this looks like it could potentially turn into a double top. So I'm not going to do anything with this one, but if it does pick up and keep going again, I mean, that's a strong top, and this is a strong candle, so it really does look like it could keep going a little bit more, but I've got to expect that this is going to turn around at some point. I don't think, I'm not interested in getting involved at that high of the, that close to the peak. Bank of America, I think we saw them earlier. And on the weekly, we kind of got a little bit of a, I'm not going to use either of the terms that I'm used to calling this, but I think we're coming down, and it looks like really the wicks here on the weekly are pushing down. This wants to go down. MACD is kind of curling down. Now this could easily curl back up, but you know, most of the stuff here is sort of trending towards the downside. The momentum indicators are trending to the downside here. RSI is kind of giving us a little bit of a curl because we closed this week on the way back up. So, I mean, there's a little bit of a trend here. I mean, there's almost a little bit of a channel, and we're sort of at the bottom of that channel. So from that view, you know, could we bounce here and go back up? Yeah, we could. You know, I think also we're not far from breaking through all this. So if we were to come through, you can see that there's strong support here at this level. There's a bounce over here, that area bounced again there, bounced again there. So there's going to be some support further below. So I don't necessarily know that I want to believe that this is exactly where it's going to plant and you know, go to the moon. But it's definitely a possibility if we can push through some of this sell pressure here. But not massive volume on either of those either. So yeah, let's see, and one more. Look at Moderna, mRNA. Okay, so these guys looking a little bit more bullish. They have come through. We got some higher high. Well, it's a little bit of an expanding pattern, a little bit up and a little bit down here. So it's a little bit of a megaphone, but we are in fact making higher highs. Now, of course, if we come up here and touch on this, right, if it is in fact an expanding pattern, that would kind of indicate we'd be ready to come back down. But we've got a lot of consolidation in here. We've got, I mean, look at this over the course of the last couple of weeks. Inside bar hammer, outside bar hammer, inside bar hammer, wide body outside bar, and now an inside doji. So a ton of consolidation, even though we got a lot of range here. So, and that's a massive amount of volume there. I mean, we haven't seen a volume like that since we saw this candle here. So yeah, I'm not real sure what to take out of this. I mean, it looks like it's a doji. And this is technically a wide body doji as well. There's a lot of indecision up here, even though we've managed to clear some of these areas up, or some of these these highs over here in some of these supply zones. But I mean, this is still sell rejection. So are we going to be able to get over this, or is it time for us to come back down? Because when we look at this expanding pattern, right, we are looking at something that does something like this. Let's zoom out a little. Oops, that's not what I wanted. There we go. So, I mean, this is kind of the pattern we're seeing here. And I would expect after coming up here and touching this that we're going to come back down and we're going to reject. So I guess based on that, you know, maybe it's going to reject. I'm not going to put it on the list. I don't have enough conviction in this setup, but it's probably worth looking. All of these inside bars on the weekly are worth keeping an eye on, because either they're going to continue, like with this much consolidation, will it continue to consolidate? I mean, it could for a little bit, but it won't forever. So, you know, that's why these consolidation bars are interesting, because, you know, really what they're telegraphing is that, hey, there's a move coming. People are acquiring positions and, you know, planning for something. So at some point, it will not stay the same price. We just don't know what it's going to do. But right here, you know, my guess would be that we're going to come back down and retest at least the middle of this megaphone. And we can see that that's been an area, a popular area so far. So maybe come down and test this 149, 150 area. That'd be sort of my guess. All right. So, and then just we'll do a quick look through a couple of the other scanners that I have here. We're not going to chart out everything. So in order, the ones that I typically go through is I'm looking on my daily and weekly scan. So the inside bar, as I've mentioned before, is the first place I go. I've got one here called Maximum Derrick. This is high volatility, low ATRP tickers. They tend to just be real ballistic tickers. So I'm always interested in seeing what's going on out here. These are not on the weekly, these are on the daily. So let's take a quick look at these guys. Rivian coming and making new lows. They could be in trouble here. They're extremely oversold, so they may be due for a bounce. But you can see, right, the reason that we're looking at this list here is the ATR and the price, right, is, I mean, that's pretty big. It's almost $2 on a $20 stock. So this thing is moving like 10% per day. It's a lot. And actually 3% move is actually pretty small for these guys. So these guys might be due for a bounce. I'd maybe keep an eye on them for the upside. Coin, again, another one that's about 10%, about a 10% mover per day on an average day, right? $3 range on a $35 ticker is a lot. So we're kind of back down in here. We're coming off of this lower trend line. We're still sort of trapped in this wedge here. So we could come out of here. It's going to depend, obviously, what Bitcoin is doing. And so I don't necessarily see a play in here. I like these two bottom wicks here. I could see maybe potentially a slight move to the upside, but I'm not going to jump in on this one. GameStop coming in. They're at a level here. It looks like they had some people step up to buy as soon as we breach this level here. So we could see a bounce. There's nothing that really says we couldn't, but I don't love playing the meme stock, so we're going to keep on going. Tesla has just been in an absolute skid. This is it's just fugly, man. And I am currently in a strangle on Tesla. I exited an earlier strangle last week on. I mean, it was a gorgeous week down. Sorry, Elon, but I mean, look at these candles. I missed this week. I got most of this one. I have some calls that I'm sort of waiting. So I'd love to see a bounce on this, but that is just because of how I'm positioned. I do have a strangle in play on these guys currently, and yeah, could they get more downside? They absolutely could. If we're just kind of looking at the levels here, we've already broken this level there. And we've got kind of last resort here, and that kind of comes into this long-term downtrend line, this channel that we're in. So I do think that we're going to get a bounce here fairly soon on Tesla. I mean, I just don't see how we can. I mean, nothing goes straight up or down. I mean, this comes pretty close, but I do think we're going to have to see a relief bounce here at some point. We're oversold on the weekly, but the momentum indicators say we're not done yet. So we may need to come down here, but this confluence of stuff here right around like 110 110, 115 is where I'd potentially expect a bounce back. And depending on what's going on in the market, if we do get a little bit of a rally, it could be a pretty violent rally coming from Tesla with this much selling. So we'll see what happens. So who else is in here? Roku. These guys attempted to get out of this channel up here, kind of failed that, came back in. They're just sort of in the middle here, a little bit oversold. Below a level, so they made new lows. Looking at them on the weekly, yeah, all-time lows for these guys as far as I can tell, or I mean, at least as far as my 3 weeks of time here goes. But I mean, just up, double top, tank, and I don't see anything here that makes me super interested in the play. It's just a lot of little small bars here, and I don't know. I mean, with the chains, I mean, the chains are still moving. A little bit of bias towards bullish call activity, but not a ton going on from like an index perspective. So, and then my old friend TQQQ, and we're kind of looking a little triple bottomy here. So, I mean, we could get a little bit of a bounce out of this guy. Nothing that says that we need to, but I mean, this would be the expected area to bounce a little bit. So if we do get a play tomorrow, this is not a great inside setup here, but it was one of our insides. Oh, it didn't show up on our inside scanner. But we do have kind of a ways to go to break the parent here. So I'm not going to mark it down for a play in that regard, but you can keep an eye on this one, especially if you have a smaller account. This is my favorite ticker for smaller accounts for playing options because the premiums are really reasonable. It moves very similarly to QQQ. And it's a really easy way to, to start small and gain some confidence with, with the ticker that is not as erratic as like a GameStop. So because this one follows, it essentially follows a significant portion of the QQQ ETF, you're going to get a very similar performance, right? If we look at this compared to QQQ, and it does look a little bit different because it is balanced differently, but you can see there's this similar kind of triple bottom look here going on. Granted, this thing's all tattooed up. So, all right, guys, I've kept you long enough. I hope this is helpful. I hope some of these tickers that we stumbled across today are useful for you in your trades for the week. And let me know if you have any comments or questions below. Otherwise, definitely appreciate any likes on the channel. Subscribe if this is helpful, and maybe I'll do more of these in the future. And or maybe I won't. We'll see. Whatever. All right, everybody, have a great week. I will talk to you more soon. Cheers.